Hello, good people. Welcome to our time together today. I'm Kristen. Welcome if you are new here, and thank you so much if you're returning. Here is our new moon in Taurus reading. Happy birthday if you're a Taurus. I'm a Taurus. And I think that this new moon is going to be very much a respite and the opening of a portal of rebirth for what's been going on the last 6 months or so. So how has it been for you? What changes have been happening in your life? Where have the transformations been coming in? And how have you been working on yourself? And what choices have you been making? It feels like a lot of us have been making some choices that are very hard and have forced us to go a little internal and maybe even to go a little bit quiet, go into a moment of pause so that we can really listen to our hearts, really become more in tune with and become really friends with our gut instinct. And that gut that really talks to our bodies, and how listening to our bodies, it can be such an incredible guidance force for us. Something doesn't always feel right. Or I don't know quite why it doesn't feel right, but it doesn't feel right. And I think a big theme that's been coming up a lot lately, at least for me, is this recognition of how quickly I can really listen to the hints my body is giving me that are tipping me towards that understanding of my own personal intuition more. It's like sometimes we don't always trust our intuition. We get too much into the analytical mind, trying to talk ourselves out of our gut instincts, out of what we're really feeling, out of our first kind of like gut feeling. And I believe that you have come to a place where you're really trusting that more first. And that's a beautiful thing. And so we come to this place of rebirth, of the spring, where we have been planting the seeds of what we want in our lives, those physical things in our career path, things in our love path, things in our patterns of how we think, the stories we tell ourselves, the everyday routines, and sifting through and reevaluating, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. And a lot of those reevaluations have come up, I think, over the last 6 months or so by just certain events, or certain events with certain people, or I think really recognizing I go through that same pattern at work. This always happens with my colleagues. I always go to appease. I always allow someone to have a little bit more of the credit. I always let my boss be a little condescending. I always date the same person, or these things tend to happen when I go out on dates or I begin to get intimate with someone. And as we come into a place of catching ourselves more of, wait a second, no, I'm not like that anymore. Wait a second, how come I said that? How come I let that go? And not doing that as much as we used to. So we're here in this new moon, and what a perfect time to plant, to allow what we have planted to begin to sprout, to begin to see what newness is coming up from all of these new understandings that we have over this period of time where we may have sat back, looked at things, been more quiet, allowed ourselves to take more pause. For some of us, there was a lot of intensity, and there was a need to just slow down, and as the intensity, in waves of intensity, come up and down, right? It's, oh, here's a wave and this happened, and okay, now I'm regulating again. And, oh, this happened, and okay, now I'm regulating again. You also might have come to this place where you find that you are being able to regulate your nervous system quicker and quicker, just from simply being the observer over this period of time and really learning and understanding. All right, a card fell out, so we're going to look at it. It's the Master, of course, right? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about allowing that place of the loss of innocence and the grief that maybe has come with that loss of innocence to be felt and then transform into a deeper wisdom, an acknowledgement of ourselves, a new kind of adulthood where we align with the responsibilities of life, our self-responsibilities, with understanding that we also have emotions and feelings, and we need to align what we are responsible with in the world. It needs to be things that we are connected to deeply, things that we instinctually want to get closer and to connect more and more with, whether that be our friendships, our romantic relationships, our partnerships at work, how we relate to perhaps our own businesses. Some of you may have felt that you're having trouble at work if you own a business, where you've really felt like you are, okay, this is what I've been working towards, this is what I've been going towards, and all of a sudden things start collapsing. And to allow the grief, yes, but to also be able to sit in the place of, okay, but I've been working really hard. I have been producing for myself. I have been listening to myself. Perhaps in the background, you've been growing what it is that you really truly want, and things are collapsing and intensely moving away so that there can be more space for what's coming up, which can be a very tender place. And we could say the same thing for any kind of friendships or romantic partnerships that have gone away. Perhaps something that you thought was really working well, or something that was really, that you felt very connected to. And there was something about it that just wasn't quite really aligning with who you are deep inside, with that authentic self. So what are we releasing? What are we releasing? What's some more about what we're releasing? The flowering. I think we're releasing waiting to bloom because you are blooming. Things are rising up from under the dirt in this springtime, in this Taurus New Moon. You know, Taurus is so grounded, and it really is, you know, what we can see, what we can smell, what we can taste, what we can touch, what is real, what is stable, what it is that we are producing in this world that has structure, but also deep meaning to us. We're letting go of the process of constantly feeling like we need to do more to ourselves, that maybe if there have been any intensities or things that have let go, it's not being taken from you. It's a shift that is inevitable because it is what you asked for. And it may require sitting in a little bit of a meditative space, a little bit in a space of deep breath, to allow what it is to continue to release emotionally and physically from your life. What are we trying to bring more in? Guidance, which feels to me like it's more of your own guidance. Sometimes when we've been through a period of time that feels like an eye of a storm. We're really left with no one but ourselves. It's coming into this dark, mysterious place of where the imagination can take us to a place that is far more beautiful, that's far more blooming than anything that we could have created necessarily with our own limiting analytical mind. What is it that you have been limiting yourself to? And where is this inner guidance that you might feel, I can't do that, that's too unrealistic, I'm too old to do that, I have these responsibilities. What is it that you are truly being guided to do so that you can continue to bloom and to grow? What else more for this new moon? The sun, right? But the sun is the enlightenment. The sun it's where innocence meets mastery. And knowing that we are always in this process, in this journey of learning, and we reach a certain level, and then it's almost like to go to the next place, it's starting at the beginning again. And we can't think of that as we've been leveled all the way down. It's, no, you've been brought back to another beginning because you've gotten to a certain plateau. And I believe a lot of light has been shed on all the places that needed to come up and out so that you could truly begin to see what has been lying in the dark recesses of your soul. Like, what is hidden there that perhaps you weren't ready to see? I think a lot of us in the last 6 months have seen some things that we have not been ready to see before. And that's where it can feel challenging. And that's where we sit in the place of compassion and forgiveness and grace with ourselves. And trust that our guidance system is exactly perfect for where you are at any given time in any moment. So the guidance that you gave yourself 10 years ago was exactly perfect. You may look back on it now and be like, why did I do that? But that was the leadership that you needed to give yourself. That was getting you to the next place and the next place and the next place, leading you to exactly where you are now, which is this new place of starting fresh, starting here in the spring, starting with the light pouring back into your life, and knowing that as you have been spiraling into these darker places, as the light has been shining on some of these things that perhaps were hidden and not seen, that you were also wrapped in the love of your own personal light, and you were wrapped in the light of your ancestors, your angels, your higher self, God. The light of your heart was always there for you. That's why you're here now. That's why you're able to be in this place of new self-discovery and of never letting it be enough. You are enough. You've always been enough, and you will always be enough. But to be in a place where I want more for myself. What worked for me a year ago doesn't work for me today. And so how can I sit in a place where maybe some things have been peeling, like layers of things have been peeling away, perhaps chunks of identity, things that you really defined yourself as are falling away, and you're realizing that you're so much bigger than you were really giving you credit for. And there is just a ton of space in front of you to imagine with and dream with and create with. And that is the spring, that is the light. And that is this place of a Taurus New Moon, allowing you that it's not just all this mystical stuff up here. It is what you have the ability to create that does manifest here, that looks like a new part of your business, or a new perspective on your business, or a new title for yourself, or leaving something and going someplace where you feel more appreciated, where you feel more emotionally connected to the work that you're doing in the world, where you feel like you're appreciated more. A lot of you want space and time to be able to not feel constantly rushed. There is also this place of really seeing these spots in the world, this place where the darkness and the light intertwine, right? And where there is this string of darkness, right? That is integral to part of every single one of us. But sometimes when we are confronted with or meet with a bit of darkness in our real life, it can feel very polarizing, like it puts us in freeze. And I think knowing that you have this light, that you couldn't be blooming and flowering and constantly on this journey where you are taking yourself higher and higher, allowing yourself to see a higher perspective, you couldn't do that if you didn't have this intrinsic light that was guiding you the entire time. And it's always there for you, even if it's this tiny little itty bitty, teeny light, it's always there for you. With the Hermit, because all of this, what may have felt just wanting to hide away perhaps, or pulling yourself into the cave, which is very different from isolating oneself. Perhaps in the past you have felt isolated. That is not the case anymore. It's not about isolating yourself. It's about taking yourself deep into your own internal process and letting that cook in the sacred fire of your soul, letting that fire in the belly have a chance to renew itself. And then moving forward with the wisdom as the Hermit carries the star of your destiny, the star of the light that is always inside of you, of the guiding light of what you look towards, the guiding light of finding the right people to walk with you on the journey that you're on. And with the Hermit, it is this active energy that identifies more with that masculine, active, giving to yourself, not being afraid to take those actions that are of service to yourself, so that you can truly take the spot of being of service to the world in what it is that you are manifesting for yourself in your relationships, friendships, romantic partners, in your business life, in your community, in your family. See, and with the King of Rods, right, it's having this courage. It's moving forward into, I love the King of Rods coming into the spring and then going into the summer, because it feels like this summer will be a very fiery, very romantic summer where you can rediscover all those sensory needs for yourself, where you can really be in this place of meeting that childlike place of beginning and appreciating it, knowing that you're taking everything you've learned, all your mastery is always going to go with you, but you can delight and have fun and get curious about a fresh new beginning and a fresh new place. And what it is you're creating from that, knowing that, you don't lose everything that you've gained. That, your intelligence, your brain won't stop braining, as I always say. but we're connecting to our courage, and the courage in our hearts, and the courage in our belly, the courage that we feel in our bodies after we've been through a place of intensity, and we have learned to regulate our nervous systems quicker and quicker as things in the world begin to develop and things come through, and we have experiences that are not always positive, but we can stay calm. And we can defend ourselves. We can be sharp. And we don't allow people to steal our energy and take our creativity. But it feels very much coming towards the summer that this springtime and this new moon in Taurus very much is leading towards this summertime epoch. There's some sort of peak that's coming in the summer, and there was another reading I did last week where it was August, and I know the Sun card had come out at some point last week, and I was thinking Leo season, and I was thinking August. So some sort of, perhaps you're taking a vacation, perhaps you're going on some kind of journey, or you're taking time off in August, or something is going to come up in August that's going to really be that turning point of everything that you've already become, because you're already it. You're already the thing that you want to be. Now it's simply just time to step into it. Thank you. I will see you in the next reading. I really appreciate your being here. If you're enjoying this content and you want to hang out with me more, I would love it if you would subscribe so I can connect with you more. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, as it helps me with the algorithm and the universe of YouTube as I try to grow my channel. I have readings coming out all the time, several times a week, sometimes every day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.